Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me. One more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
Well, good morning. I'd like to call to order the City of Fitchburg's Board of Review on Wednesday, June 11th, 2025 at 9 a.m. at the Fitchburg City Hall in the Francis Huntley Cooper Council Chambers. At this time, I'd ask our clerk, Tracy Oldenburg, to call the roll, please.
Thank you, Chair. Sean Path.
Present.
Richard Bloomquist.
Here.
Elton Krim Jr. is absent. Carol Poole. Here. Sharif Atun is absent. Amanda Canessa. Here. Andrew Slager.
Present.
Mark Fairchild.
Present.
You do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I want to have the clerk provide agenda item number 3, confirmation. Before we do that, hold on real quickly. If a little off script here, Madam Clerk. Sean Path, I am the chair, longtime Fitchburg resident, live in Seminole Forest. Mark, you want to just briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, Mark Fairchild, my second year on the Board of Review. Been a Fitchburg resident since 2013. Live over in the Hugel-Jamestown neighborhood.
Thanks for coming back. Andrew?
I am Andrew Slager. I live in Wildwood South. I have lived in Fitchburg since 2017, and it's a beautiful city.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. No stranger, Carol?
Carol Poole. I've lived in Fitchburg since 1982. I was on the council for 4 terms beginning in 2009. I'm currently a member of the Plan Commission, and I live in Belmar Hills.
Richard?
Good morning. My name is Richard Bloomquist. I live in Fitchburg. Been here since 1992. Served 6 years on the city council, and my second or year and a half of serving on the Board of Review.
Thank you for your service, Richard.
Amanda Canessa. I was just appointed to the Board of Review, so this is my first meeting. I have been a resident of Fitchburg for about 6 years, and I live in Seminole Hills.
Thank you for serving the community. Tracy, real briefly, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Tracy Oldenburg, City Clerk for the City of Fitchburg. I've been in this position since 2019. I've been employed with the city since 2008.
Thank you. And Chris?
Sure. Thank you. I'm Chris Leitz, the City Assessor. I've been here now serving as a City Assessor for about 2.5 years. Prior to that, I spent I believe it was 7 or 8 years working in the City of Janesville Assessing Department. Glad to be here.
And thank you all. Thank you for everyone. This committee is an impressive committee. It's an important committee for the city's role, and as we deal with a growing city, to get people involved and to take time out of their busy schedules to do this is very much appreciative. Madam Clerk, at this time, we have confirmation of appropriate Board of Review open meetings notice, right? This meeting has been noticed correctly?
Thank you, Chair. Correct, it has. It was published in the paper on May 12th, 2025, and it was also noticed on the doors as per state statute at the Senior Center, the Recreation Department, and the City Hall bulletin boards, as well as posted on the front door.
Okay. And at this time, Madam Clerk, every part of the process here is at least one of us has to do member training, an annual member training for the year, a requirement. Has anyone, or I'm sure we have, but who did that this year?
That is correct. Per statutes, we have Richard Bloomquist and Carol Poole both took the in-person training on April 22nd.
And, go ahead, Andrew, I'm sorry. Or Mark. Thank you, yes. And just a quick question for you, for the public. How often do we have to do that? Like if I did it 3 years ago, how soon do I need to do that again?
The law states that every year one board member has to take the training.
So somebody could never take the training,
That's
so to speak.
correct.
Okay, don't encourage that, but thank you to Richard and Carol.
Yes,
and,
we encourage everybody to take the training that's interested.
And Amanda, thank you for taking it next year.
Sure.
Anyway, not to put you on the spot. Okay, so thank you for that. So we have met our statutory requirement that the annual mandatory training requirement has been met. We have done an open meetings record today. And Chris, item number 5, our goal here today is to begin the process of what we call our annual board of review. And Chris is going into his 3rd board of review. Is that correct, Chris, as you mentioned?
That's correct, yeah.
Thank you for what you do. And Chris, why don't you provide us an update of what we're going to see in front of us and kind of a lay of the land over the next several weeks?
Certainly. So the assessment role, I guess in short, is not yet completed. We're in open book right now, meaning we're kind of in that informal appeal stage. It just started on Monday.
Chris, what is open book?
Open book is kind of an informal setting where, so we send out our initial assessment notices. Those went out, I believe they went out in the mail on Friday. Open book started on Monday. And, you get a piece of mail that says, hey, here's your 2024 assessment, here's your 2025 assessment. If you've got any questions, issues, related to your property or just in general, it's a good opportunity to come in and sit down with one of our staff and kind of go through the questions you might have. It's kind of it's a good educational process and a good exchange of information. For context, this year we did a revaluation, so pretty much everybody's values changed. And with that, there's a lot of questions that people might have. They might say, hey, why did it change, or did you change anything with my home, like any specific data points? So it's a good educational process, a good chance for property owners to kind of get involved in our process in a small way. So following open book is where we're at now, is board of review. Open book will run through next week, Wednesday. That's the final day of open book. Then we'll commence board of review kind of in full about a month after that. There's a statutory requirement that anybody whose values change in a revaluation year, they need to be notified a minimum of 30 days before the board of review. So we'll send out our kind of, call it re-notices of any properties that change in value probably late next week or early the following week. And then we'll get ready for kind of board review in full in July.
So, quick question, just for me, for the public, then I'll turn over to Mr. Bloomquist has a question. As Chris said, the public should have received a letter in the mail June 9th through June 18th. The city assessing department is available, and then board of review, as he said, is July 24th, 9 a.m. until we adjourn this committee. The public should have received or will be receiving, or I'm sure has, a letter in the mail. I received mine that talks about this process. So thank you, Chris, for that. Richard, question from you.
Yeah, I got my letter in the mail as well, and I guess my question's about timing and about how we proceed, because I was rather stunned, I guess you could say, that the fact was that you said we mailed the letters on Friday, which might make sense. I think I got mine on, I forget what, like maybe Saturday or whatever. But the timing between when open book starts and when we mailed the letters, and you've got people that are on vacation and that, I just find it rather interesting that we ran this thing right up until almost the time that open book starts, and chatting with city clerk this morning about mail issues and that the timing doesn't seem to be the best as to when we sent the letter about the reval ahead of when we start open book for the residents of the city. And I find that troublesome, and I would hope that going forward we'd figure out a way to give people more notice about when open book is, than basically getting, for anybody that didn't get their mail over the weekend, yeah, you've got till next Wednesday to do it. But with everything going on in the world today, I think timing on this should be a little bit better and a little bit cleaner for the citizens if they have a question. And also, what drove the reval this year?
Okay, so he's going to get into that second half of his presentation. Chris, just a quick thought on the process of mail. Obviously, you guys are busy and there's a lot of households. And just quick on that. We want to stay focused here, but go ahead.
Yeah, so open book has been, the dates have been posted on the Department of Revenue's calendar. We post those every year. They've been posted on there for quite a while. I believe they were posted on the city, both on the clerk's part of the website and our part of the website, I believe several weeks ago. So, and we've been kind of advertising it out there that this is when it's going to be. They get their notice. I mean, we send the notices out, when they go out. But yeah, I understood.
Can I just add?
Yeah, please.
Aren't the timings issued based on state statutes, workload, being able to finish?
Yeah,
your
so
staff being able to get them out there based on the time they're mailed, and open book deadlines based on state statutes?
Yeah, there's a couple things. I mean, we had to, we don't have the capacity to print and fold and stuff 9,000 envelopes ourselves, so we farmed that out, and we had to get all of the notices to them 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ahead of the mailing. So we had to send it to the print shop 2 weeks ago. So they had it for a couple weeks, and we've, like I said, we've been advertising open book for a while. There are certain dates that you have to hold open book and board of review by, there's a lot of work that goes into this. And we were down a couple of staff people for several months, and when we did hire 2 new folks, they require onboarding and training.
So Tracy, was this like a stuffing party you guys had in the conference room of all staff stuffing these out, I'm sure?
No, that was actually, as Chris said, that was farmed out to another company.
Okay, because in the old days you used to do that a lot. Okay, Chris, thank you for that. And Richard, you raise a great point. Again, the public, as the handout says, check your mailbox. Chris's team is here. They have to statutorily be open for business during this time frame, but please call the city if you have questions on that. Chris, just a few general questions. Maybe if you could share, stay within your scope of your work, of course, but just speaking of scope, the scope of the tax base in Fitchburg and a number of parcels and just kind of what is going to be in front of us here.
Yeah, so we have a little over 10,000 total parcels on our assessment roll here.
And all the town of Madison's been enrolled.
Yep.
Okay.
So last year for 2024 was the first year that we had done like a full, so they were incorporated into the city's assessment roll when I first started in 2023. We did kind of a maintenance assessment roll that year. This last year in 2024, we did a revaluation of the whole city, driven by sales from calendar years 2022 and 2023. And then this last year, for 2025, we've now done another revaluation. We're planning to take 2026 off of a revaluation. So from here out, we'll do, you can kind of plan for revaluations in odd numbered years. So 25, 27, 29, and so on. This year, the average increase was, or the total assessment increase was around 10 to 11% in total. Residential increased by about 11 to 12%, and commercial, I believe, was around 10%. And most of that is going to be pulled by apartments. The apartment market, as you all probably know, in Fitchburg is very, very strong. Housing market as well. So, by and large, the rates or the assessments have gone up consistent with what we've seen over the last several years. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. In that vein, again, stay within our scope here, but any general broad questions for Chris as we kind of set the table here for the next few weeks? Carol, I know you had a couple of things.
I have a question, number one, a follow-up question for you about the apartments. How do the apartments impact residential assessments?
They really don't that much. So apartments are valued in the commercial class of property. So they get valued quite a bit differently. So apartments get valued utilizing an income approach to valuation. So you figure whatever your rents are less your expenses and capitalize that net operating income. So we value those more in the commercial vein. Residential is valued using what we call like a market modified cost approach. So it's all based on, you know, kind of hardline construction cost data, less depreciation. And then we analyze sales in a neighborhood to determine where some of those assessments are in relation to the sales. So it's a bit of a hybrid approach. But
Second question is, do you do a flat rate for everyone in the same neighborhood? Similar to the way the city of Madison does it, or how do you determine?
But what do you mean by
like,
flat rate?
Well, my assessment went up 12.8%, which is pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, does my whole neighborhood get that same increase, or?
That's a great question. So generally, yes. So like we have a spreadsheet that we have in our office or not, I guess not a spreadsheet, but a little document that has each neighborhood and what kind of their average change was. So if you say you live in Belmar, and the average change was, you know, 13%, we would expect most of those to be right around there. However, if there's one that, you know, say went up 20% in a neighborhood that typically went up 13%, we might have some questions as to why that would be. Typically, there's going to be some sort of other data change. It might be something that we went out and did an inspection on and had to make some other data changes to. So by and large, yes, most neighborhoods will see kind of an average, a pretty consistent change.
Okay, all right. Chris, thank you again, and good luck, and look forward to working with your team. Tracy, maybe you could do a little state law 101 here, kind of walk us through why we are here, what the goal of this committee is, and then kind of scheduling. Tracy is very flexible with schedules, so if you guys have summer vacations and stuff, we all understand that. That's why you have second alternates. You're all equal members of this committee. I'm honored to chair it again. Tracy, what logistically and what are we going through here, and walk us through what we need to do. Item
Sure.
B, 5B.
Thank you, Chair. By state statutes today, we're required to meet the statutory requirement to have that first meeting. Being that the roll is not ready yet, we have to have this meeting to adjourn to a later date. We have that on the agenda as a discussion item. It's been posted for July 24th at 9 a.m. So I hope you all can make it to that so that we have a quorum.
Amanda, do you have that?
I do have that, yes.
Yep. That is technically considered the first meeting of the Board of Review. That's where we have to meet at a minimum for 2 hours. We'll go over any objection forms that are turned in to make sure that they're all complete. Also, anybody that does not make the 48-hour requirement to turn in their paperwork, they have an opportunity then during those first 2 hours of the meeting to plead their case as to why they didn't meet that 48-hour requirement. And then you as the board decide whether or not you want to proceed to hear their case. Depending on how many objections come in between the ending of open book and the first 48 hours of that meeting, will determine how many meetings we have moving forward. I would anticipate that first meeting to take a minimum of 4, 5, 6 hours, just plan for that, and then we'll schedule out according to your schedules moving forward. So, and I'll try to keep you all in the loop as to how many objections are coming in, so you know, have an idea. Yeah.
Like Tracy said, we all, like I said, we have alternates and stuff. People, you guys are busy folks. We all travel a little bit, so Tracy does a nice job of really gaming it out of when we got to be here. Usually this concludes, knock on wood, by the middle of September to late September, we should be done. And those things are there. Any questions on that? Does everybody have July 24th? Richard?
Yeah, when we did the last Board of Review and we had citizens come and we couldn't hear them because they didn't bring their licensed appraiser, they didn't bring all of this. I'm assuming that we have changed our notices to anybody that's going to show for Board of Review. When they fill out the objection form, we make it very clear what they have to bring, you know, that we can listen to and make our decision from, that we don't have surprise residents that day, that you know, they've done what they consider to be their due diligence and homework, and yet we can't hear what they have to say. So I'd just like to make sure that if I sit here for 5 hours and I have somebody that presents a case, that they understand the documents that they have to bring with them or the people they have to bring.
That is correct. So when I send out the objection packets to people that are looking to fill out the forms, one, they receive the rules and processes and procedures that you had voted on and signed off on, which clearly states in there. And then there's an FAQ form in there that they also receive that has that information in there. So whether or not they choose to read it.
Yep. So Tracy and or Chris, before somebody comes to us, this is a question for the public, before somebody comes and sits at that table for us to present to us, they have met with your staff, correct? Or you?
They're not required to.
They're not required
We encourage it because it's, it's generally quite a bit easier than coming before the Board of Review.
But it's not required.
It's not required. It's
Okay, that's a
encouraged.
key point I wanted to get out. It's not required to sit down with city staff. However, always good to make sure
Yeah.
communication's happening on the front end.
Yeah, I think it's a lot less intense, I guess we'll call it, than, a Board of Review hearing.
And if I can just add,
Yeah,
what
please.
is required is that they file objection paperwork 48 hours prior to that first meeting. And if not, you as the board need to decide whether or not you still want to hear their case based on them showing good cause as to why they did not meet that 48-hour requirement.
And Tracy, are those forms able to fill out online, or do they have to print them out and then fill them out and then send them to us? How does that, just the mechanics of that work?
They are available online.
And they could
Or
populate
by
them.
paper. They're on our website, and they are on the Department of Revenue's
Okay.
website as well.
Okay, well, in the act of being as transparent as we can, Madam Clerk, do you need a motion to approve June 24th as our date, or is it just a discussion?
If you could motion to approve, that'd be wonderful.
Andrew?
I move to approve July 24th, 9 a.m. as our first Board of Review meeting.
Second.
Second by Poole. Any discussion on that date? Again, give yourselves plenty of time. Tracy is right. That is a meeting where we got to grind through a lot of stuff and go through a lot of mechanics, I should say, of filling out forms and all of that good stuff. Let's make sure, Mr. Wise guy here, make sure I got it on my calendar. I do. Okay, and Tracy, you sent out a notice to us, right? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
On the Outlook request?
Yep, that's correct. I sent you out
Okay.
an appointment.
All those in favor of this meeting being adjourned, this group being adjourned until, is adjourn the right word, Tracy, or
You could use the word postpone.
postpone? All in favor of postponing the Board of Review until July 24th, 2025 at 9 a.m. to meet at Fitchburg City Hall, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. This meeting itself is adjourned. Thank you.